Greetings, gentlemen. It's Russell Connection, and this is my review of Dark Phoenix. Dark Phoenix is the most recent X-Men film from Fox. Completed before the Fox Disney deal was complete. I know. Yeah. And basically the final Fox X-Men movie. What the movie's about is the X-Men dealing with the expanding powers of Jean Grey after a mission in space. Now, this lovely volume right here is the comic version, the source material. Let's see, it spans 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, technically 25 comic books. Yeah. And this movie, by the way, is just under 2 hours long. A quick opinion on the film, though, is that, well, simply put, Fox tries and fails once again to adapt what is, at the very least, one of, if not the greatest X-Men story ever. So, yeah. Also, I'm going to say this now. I will probably say it again at the end of the video as well. Coming probably in the next little while, honestly, hopefully sooner rather than later, I'm probably going to be working on this as I upload this video. I completely forgot the segment title. Armchair Producer X-Men Sequels. Or X-Men Sequels and Spin-Offs, I should say. So, who all's in the movie? Well, I mean, you got pretty much everyone reprising their roles from, First Class onward. James McAvoy's back as Xavier, Michael Fassbender's back as Magneto, Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique, Nicholas Hoult as Beast, Sophie Turner as Jean Grey, Ty Sheridan as Cyclops, Alexandra Shipp as Storm, Evan Peters as Quicksilver, Cody McPhee as Nightcrawler. New to the cast are we got Jessica Chastain as Vuk, leader of the Dabari who have arrived on Earth, wants to make use of the Phoenix Force. It is never actually called the Phoenix Force in the movie. Keep that in mind. There are some mentions of Phoenix and calling Jean Phoenix at one in the movie, but that's all. But, yeah, she's the leader of the Dabari on Earth, and she wants to make use of the Phoenix Force to turn Earth into a new Dabari homeworld, as it's explained in the film. The Cosmic Force, the unnamed Cosmic Force, destroyed the Dabari homeworld. And then we got Otto Essendo as Jones, Vuk's right-hand man, the second most prominent Dabari in the film, and yeah, there really isn't a third most prominent. It's like, and then there's the ones who don't talk. Really, that's pretty much what it is. Or rather, the ones that, are just there for the fight scenes. There are some other characters brought in, but they're not even named, except for in the credits. And this is a problem I've been having with the X-Men series since, yeah. To basically say, hey, look, we brought in this character. Like, oh, cool. But wait. Oh, there they are. Okay, all right. That was it? Well, I wonder, what's to do with it? Oh, that character's supposed to be, that was supposed to be that character? Really? No, yeah, okay. Alright, let's talk about the movie itself. In the beginning the movie begins with showing the circumstances that led to Jean Grey being in the care of Professor Charles Xavier. Namely, a car crash which seemingly took the lives of both her parents when she was about 8 years old. It moves forward then to 1992. The Space Shuttle Endeavour is having problems due to a nearby cosmic phenomenon. The X-Men are asked by the President to help, which they do, though it's nearly at the cost of Jean, who is exposed to the phenomena, which she seemingly absorbs. That night, there are 3 landings from space somehow no one detects. Now, I'll grant that yes, this is nearly 30 years ago, but yeah. This is the Bari landing on Earth, though. We see one of them take the form of a fairly well-to-do woman, and this being Vuk. But yeah, their whole thing is find Jean, find the woman who absorbed the phenomena. Meanwhile, Xavier's, they're having a celebration about everything that's happened while Charles is off receiving a medal from the president. Anyway, Jean kind of loses control of her powers and just kind of, floors everyone, including Scott. And then they go. Anyway, Scott wakes up in their room. He's got he got hurt, and they talk a bit. Jean's now planning to leave and go see her father. And everyone said, "Well, your father's dead." It's like, no, he's not. I can hear him in my mind. And so, anyways, Jean then tracks down her father, talks to him a bit. However, she's looking around the house and realizes that there are no pictures of her. Just pictures of her mother and her father, and it's like, how come there aren't any pictures of me? Do you not miss me? The X-Men arrive. They try to get Jean to leave with them, but it doesn't go as planned. During this, also, some local police show up, and Jean just trashes their cars. Presumably, some of them died. And the consequences for that pop up later. But Jean escapes. During all this, we also learned that Charles buried, or basically put a wall around the trauma of the car accident, so that Jean wouldn't remember it. All she'd know is that her parents were dead. But this force that she's absorbed is eroding those walls and also kind of opening up her potential power-wise, because she's hearing practically everything thought-wise. In the meanwhile, after she escaped from her father's house, Jean has gone to speak to Magneto. He's living on a commune on an island where everyone leaves him and the other mutants there alone. We find out that this is supposed to be Genosha, in the credits. More on that later. Anyway, by showing up there, she's brought the military because they want to deal with her because of the police officers who were at least injured, if not killed, earlier at her father's house. What I did see was, quite the moment for him. Magneto saves the human soldiers that have shown up to take Jean into custody when Jean is fairly close to killing them with her powers. But once again, Jean leaves, this time going to New York, using her powers to mask her appearance to people. And while there, she meets Vuk. And Vuk convinces... Basically, the telepathic disguise doesn't work on Vuk. But she, convinces Jean to come with her, and she then explains to Jean somewhat of the Phoenix Force. Including that it did destroy the Dabari homeworld. Now, okay, I'll grant this much. In the Dark Phoenix saga, in this, there is a point where early when Jean goes full on Dark Phoenix, she goes out into Shi'ar space, and she destroys a solar system. That solar system was home to the Dabari. Okay, alright. Fair. You did some home. You did a little bit of reading. Back at Genosha, Beast is shown to speak to Magneto, leading to them and two of the other mutants living there with Magneto, leaving for New York to take down Jean. Also, Xavier, Cyclops, Storm, and Nightcrawler are on their way to New York to do the same thing. When they get there, of course, fight breaks out because of opposing viewpoints. And turns out that Buck realizes that Jean doesn't want the power of the Phoenix Force. And says, okay, you've been given a gift you don't want, so give it to me. Oh, okay. So they work on that, but yeah. The transfer gets interrupted by Cyclops. And then during everything that goes on, also during the whole power transference moment, that Vuk reveals her plan to Jean, which is basically turn the Earth into a new homeworld for the Dabari at the expense of humanity. But yeah, after the power transfer has been stopped and everything, the Mutant Control Unit, MCU, nice little jab. I approve. I did chuckle at that, actually. They show up to take the X-Men and Magneto and his people into custody. Because we've never seen the X-Men get taken into government custody this entire film series. Not once or twice before. So, the captured mutants are on a train, and the Dabari attack. The X-Men try to convince the MCU to release, like, hey, release us. We can help. You're not going to be any use against these guys. Let us free, and we will help you. Even Magneto was saying, hey, release us. We can help. But like, no, we got this. They didn't got it. They did not have it. But one of the soldiers does at least realize soon enough that, yeah, they're way outclassed, and does free the X-Men. So, the X-Men and Magneto and the mutants who came with him and Beast. So, yeah, they fight the Dabari. They do everything they can. Storm gets out of the manages to make her way out of the train and is going after the ones on the Debari on top of the train. Cyclops is going with Xavier to try and help Jean, and it yeah. Xavier and Jean have themselves a telepathic conversation in Charles's mind as it's quieter there. And after that, Jean saves the X-Men from the train from the train crashing with them in it. And then we get the final confrontation between her and Buck. And there's stuff after that. Then the movie ends. It ends with a nice little nod. It does end with what I actually did kind of think of as a nice nod to X-Men 3. Though, why anyone would want to reference something from X-Men 3 is beyond me, except for Kelsey Grammer as the Beast. So, the ups and downs. Okay, I'll say this. The movie actually does include a cosmic entity in the story as part of what's going on. X-Men 3 did not. It was just, oh yes, it's actually Jean's full potential, is no. But it was still connected to her powers. So, yeah. I thought, as I mentioned earlier, I thought that MCU was a nice little jab at Marvel Studios. Dazzler shows up. Dazzler! In person! In costume, even! She was played in one scene by Halston Sage. I didn't mention her in the cast because she's in the one scene. It's cool to see her. But yeah, I liked that it showed that Xavier's fallible. There were some little McAvoy and Fassbender are good. Holt's all right. I'm pretty sure that Jessica Lawrence has been phoning in her performances as Mystique since Days of Future Past. She, it's like, yeah, I'm only here because my contract says that, because I'm contractually obligated to it. So yeah. The other actors, Sophie Turner's okay. Just Jean Grey. Cyclops felt just there. There was an article, I think it was Wikipedia mentioned that he was supposed to, that I think Simon Kinberg said he was supposed to be the hero of the film. Like, yeah, well, he was a really ineffectual hero. There's not even a super memorable moment with, well, okay, I take that back. Well, no. You don't have anything Quicksilver-wise like you did in the last two. Keep that in mind. He's in the movie for a little bit. He doesn't get killed. Don't worry. Only say that much. But anyway, moving on to just straight up bitching now. The downs. The movie feels rushed more often than not, and I think that's probably in part due to the fact that there actually were recent reshoots on this. So yeah. The addition of a big bad. The Phoenix Saga is about how power corrupts, and honestly, how absolute power corrupts absolutely. You don't need a big bad. Now, don't get me wrong. There are supervillains in this. There are superhero fights against supervillains in this that are, the black and white. Here are the good guys, here are the bad guys fights. but there's also what's going on with Jean. And yeah, the movie focuses on Jean. I'll again, that's something else I can definitely give it. But yeah, we don't. It didn't need a big bad. Um, the the X-Men getting captured for the third friggin' time. I mean, God, we in X-Men 2, okay, that was great. Then in X-Men Apocalypse happens again. Okay. And then in this one it happens again. Hey, we X-Men 2 is the best of the X-Men movies. And just because capturing the X-Men worked there doesn't mean you should put it in every friggin' X-Men movie. That's not what made it good. It didn't make it bad, but it's not what really contributed to making it good. Mystique and Magneto, as much as I praise Michael Fassbender for his he portrayal of Magneto, him and Mystique both feel shoehorned into the movie. It's like you just did all this just to have them here. And again, you're only they're only here because of their contracts, so you had to figure out how to put them in. The First Class timeline is feeling a bit wonky at this point, seeing as how Magneto, who was clearly shown in X-Men First Class to be a survivor of Auschwitz, somehow, 50-some years later, has maybe aged 20 years. I mean, they could at least give him a touch of gray. Gray up the temples a bit. Just something little. Just oh hey, he is getting old. I mean, I can believe McAvoy Xavier be still because the baldness. But even then, the baldness is more from the use of his power, is from the events of X-Men Apocalypse than anything else. So yeah. The whole Genosha thing. What the fuck? Genosha is a plot point in the X-Men universe that should not be relegated to something you learn is in the movie in the fucking credits. It's something that should have its own movie. Even if that movie basically takes all of the Genosha stories, throws them in a blender, and sees what they can put together after that. Okay, alright, so overall opinions, this should have been at the very least 2 films. At the very least. And I'm not talking 2 short films. This should have been 2-hour long, maybe not 2.5 hour, but at least 2-hour long films. And to be perfectly honest, the subject matter was better adapted 25 years ago by a cartoon that was actually written for kids. Think about that. A Saturday morning cartoon adapted this story better. For the rating, 2 out of 5. It doesn't deserve higher. Anyway, like I said earlier, in the hopefully sooner rather than later, there will be an armchair producer video on the X-Men series. I will mainly be focusing on the X-Men franchise. Or on the actual X-Men movies, and not so much Wolverine. Though I might actually also. But saying that now, I may actually also focus on Wolverine. Anywho, that is it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be notified when I put up new content. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon are in the description box down below. Have a look at each one of them. Follow, follow, donate if you want. Excuse me. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.